morning. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wow, this is a bigger crowd than I expected to see this early on a rainy Sunday morning when you could have just rolled over in bed or grabbed some coffee and stayed on the couch. If you were here last week, you remember I had to leave the picnic early to go watch the Giants lose. But since then, they played again and they won. So my emotions have been all over the place this week. Big thing is it's so good to see you all this morning. And before we begin, I would just like to invite you all to get grounded. Let's take a couple of deep breaths. I see a few new faces out there. My name is Sue, and I'm the pastor here at Common Thread. There are so many people you could talk with this morning to get a little more insight about who we are, what we do, why we're here. Folks are very happy to speak with you about that. We are so glad that you are here. So I'm going to invite you to do something we do each morning before we begin, which is to respond to the words that I'm about to say. Come as you are, aching, tired, joyful, or seeking. Here we are woven together in love. Set down what you carry and let this be a place of rest. Here we are held in hope and mercy. Be present to yourself, to each other, and to the divine life that flows through all things. Here, together, we find the common thread of divine life that connects us all. This common thread of divine life in which we live and move and have our being, our God, who is lover, beloved, and love overflowing. Amen.
The wise see action in the midst of inaction, and inaction in the midst of action. Their consciousness is unified, and that every act is done with complete awareness. Abandonment, attachment to the fruits of action, always content, independent. They do not act out of compulsion, but move with the flow of the divine.
I will build this world from love. La da da, la da da, la da da da. Will you build this world from love? La da da, la da da, la da da da. And if we build this world from love, la da da, la da da, la da da da, then God will build this world from love. La da da, la da da, la da da da. world from love. La da da, la da da, la da da da. Will you build this world from love? La da da, la da da, la da da da. And if we build this world from love, la da da, la da da, la da da da, then God will build this world from love. La da da, la da da, la da da da. I will build this world from love. La da da, la da da, la da da da. Will you build this world from love? La da da, la da da, la da da da. Oh, and if we build this world from love, la da da, la da da, la da da da. Oh, God will build this world from love. La da da, la da da, la da da da. La da da, la da da, la da da da. La da da, la da da, la da da da.
Good morning. I'm glad you guys are here. However you found us, either you are an old timer, a new timer, walked in off the street. However you arrived here, I am glad, because if you are here, you belong. I'm a little winging it today, so bear with me. If you would like to know more about our community and want to get more connected, there is this QR code where you can connect to our church website and also get a brief newsletter, which will low pressure email from us telling you a little bit about our community, what's happening in it, and ways to connect. So I encourage you to do that if you aren't already connected to our church in any way. And if you are having a hard day, and often we are these days, we have a listener who will sit with you and listen. If you need a shoulder to cry on, just somebody to hear you and to be seen. And they'll be down the hall in the room on the left side of the hallway down near the bathrooms. And I don't know who is today's listener. Good. Dawn is our listener today, so she'll be down there waiting for you. And so I encourage you to take advantage of that, because it can be a real gift. We are a gift to each other, so please take advantage of that. So, as we say every week, let us put our hands on our chest and say, if you are here, you belong. We are, every one of us, carriers of the inner light. We are, every one of us, carriers of the divine breath. And so if you want to stand and greet each other and see another person who is a carrier of the divine, please stand up and say hello to each other.
Speak before you do, or I sing before you do.
He's at the gym.
Are you trying to pull double duty right now? That's got to be a lot.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, whoever you are. Isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come again, come again, come again, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come.
So Common Thread is a very small community, but we are a very active community, and so we have a lot going on. And up here you can see some of the things that are just happening. I can't see the screen in the back, so I'm going to step over here so I can see what's going on. So we obviously have what is happening, what are you thinking on Zoom. We're going to be having an open board meeting today, so everybody is welcome to come and be part of that if you'd like to sort of hear what's going on in the board. There's a drop-in self-awareness, and then this afternoon there'll be a brew crew. There's going to be a remote brew crew. I think that's fairly new. We're going to have a Power of Poetry workshop on the 15th, and then on Bunko Night at Carol's on the 17th. So I encourage you to just get involved and get connected, because it's a great way to be part of our community. Our special announcement today is the collage workshop. That's going to be on Saturday, November 1st at 10 a.m. to noon down in the teen room. So I guess Don's going to be leading that. So if you're interested or a beginning artist, come, create, be together, and enjoy that time. And so these are different ways that you can connect with our church community. We have the website, we have a mobile app, and then we also have an email that you receive if you're part of our community. And so I encourage you just to look at those to connect in our community. So thank you.
All right, so John just mentioned before that we have drop-in self-awareness happening today, so you could go meet with Dawn as a listener, you could come to the board meeting, or you can see how self-awareness works. You'll sit there and see the process live in action. And every now and then we like to have somebody who has been through the process and found it transformative in their lives to share with us how it's been transformative in their lives, and Melissa has offered to do that today, and so I'm going to invite her up to share that with you.
Hello again. All right, I'm going to set my timer so that I can try and keep this brief. Um, so earlier this week, I had a pretty delightful insight as to why I have been recently noticing some activation in myself during a certain period. So for the last couple of months, I have noticed that when we are in what are you thinking, sensing, and feeling, if there are ever long bouts of silence, I get activated. I don't like it. And Sue has even said, like, I love the long silences and I want to love the long silences, and I don't. I notice a very sharp shift in my internal system. I go from being chill, happy, like, just happy to be here, to all of a sudden, I am nervous, I am scared. I kind of feel like I feel right now a little bit. But I have some tightening. I become hyper aware. I'm scanning the room. I'm like, who is going to raise their hand? Somebody break this tension. I need relief. So the first act was noticing, just becoming aware that my body is activated. Something is happening. My body is remembering something. It is knowing something. The second part of that practice was to just observe it and not judge it. And in my observing it, I noticed that I definitely had a part that wanted to judge it. I am the yoga, meditation, mindfulness girl. I wave the banner of like silent meditation and all that jazz. I love silence. I would actively choose silence over noise most times. And yet this particular silence is just, I cannot deal with it. So I had a little bit of judgment of like, what is your problem with this silence? But again, tried to hold it lightly. So I was talking about this observation with some CTC people on Wednesday night, just naming it, observing it, trying to hold it loosely. And then Thursday morning, actually, funnily enough, in the shower, I thought of this childhood memory. It popped into my brain. And it's that sort of like before the movie of The Memory even started playing, like I knew what memory was about to play, and I was like, oh, there it is. That it was the missing piece. So this childhood memory, I'm about 14 years old, and my father was usually gone in the early evenings on weeknights because he was an in-home salesman, because that was a wild thing that we did in the 90s. We just invited people into our living rooms after dinner to try and sell us frozen meat. That's what he did. So he was gone, and it was me and my mom and my brother, and my mom and I had gotten into some kind of argument. I don't remember what it was. It was probably something to the effect of, I had done something wrong, she was not a fan, things got heated. And so we had an argument, and then we basically retreated to our two corners. I went to my room, she went off, did her maternal duties, and waited for my dad to come home. And so a couple hours later, my dad comes home. I hear him come through the front door. He goes and he talks to my mom first. He gets her version of events. And then he calls me to come and talk to him. And it's important to know I was a relatively good kid. I had a good relationship with my parents. I didn't mind my mom being mad at me so much. I didn't love it, but I was okay with it. But I really, really, really did not like it when my dad was upset with me. Like, that just killed me. So he called my name. He asked me to come downstairs so we could talk. It was sometime in winter. I think it was like the dark part of the year. It was later at night. And for whatever reason, he thought this talk would be more effective in the dark kitchen. So he didn't even turn on lights. So I'm like terrified walking downstairs into this dark kitchen because he says he wants to talk. And he is just standing leaning against the counter, looking down, and he doesn't talk to me. And it felt like an eternity. I am sure it was only 30 seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. And so, and also I'm like, dude, you called this press conference. You asked me down here to talk, and now you're not even looking at me, and we're not talking, and I'm terrified, and my heart is sinking, and I'm uncertain, and I'm scared, and I'm fearful, and I'm also pretty sure that I'm in trouble. Like, I don't know what's coming next, but it's not gonna be good. And then, And y'all, I am sure that he thought this was gentle parenting. I am positive he thought this was gentle parenting. But he just, again, not looking at me, looking down after a lifetime of silence. I'm just so disappointed in you. I'm just so disappointed in you. And scene. And that is literally all I remember of this memory is being in the kitchen in the silence and then being a disappointment, which was really just, I already knew I was a disappointment because I lead with type 4. So this was just more validation that like, yep, well, there it is. Even your own father knows that you are a disappointment. But I have talked about this in therapy. I have done a lot of work with that. But still, it still lives, right? Because when I thought of this memory in the shower on Thursday morning, and I had just been thinking about why I'm so uncomfortable when there are long silences in the what are you thinking, sensing, and feeling, because even though now I am a full-grown woman with a pretty rational brain that knows that what are you thinking, sensing, and feeling is not that moment in the kitchen when I was in trouble with my father, but my body doesn't. If Sue were to get up here right now after this and say, okay, now we're going to enter into 45 minutes of silent meditation, I would be like, cool, let's go, because I'm expecting it. But when you put me in a situation in which I assume it's called what are you thinking, sensing and feeling. We are hoping for like discussion and communication and talking. And what are you thinking? And then it's silence. I get scared. I get uncertain. And I tie it to I'm a disappointment. I actually, as I was sort of replaying all of this, I go, oh, the way you feel when there are silences and what are you thinking and sensing and feeling is the same exact way you feel when you think you're in trouble. So that's really, that's the insight and that's the awareness and that's what I get to work with now. It's not concluded. I don't know. I haven't sat through a what are you sensing, thinking, and feeling since I've had this insight. So we'll see what it's like today. But I hope that I will be able to remind myself that I am not being threatened. And because, you know, as Sue, there's nothing even, the most important things I have can't be threatened. My value can't be threatened. My worth can't be threatened. My lovability and my sense of love and my just origin of love, that cannot be threatened, whatever the circumstance. But now I can also say, you're also not being threatened because no one is mad at you in what are you thinking, sensing, and feeling. So thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. I'd like to invite everybody to take a few deep breaths. There we go. Find a comfortable place in your body. See if you can feel your feet on the floor. And inhale deeply, as fully as you can. And then exhale as fully as you can. Do that a few more times. And as you do it, see if you can sense your body coming home to itself. Let your shoulders be soft. You can let your eyes close if that feels good to you. Now that you've put some intention behind your breath, just allow your breath to take it from here. Let your breath carry you. And this morning, I would like to invite you to bring some attention to your heart, to the organ that pumps blood and the center of your being. quiet inner place where love lives and moves. And as you breathe, imagine that you are breathing through your heart. With each inhale, breathe in peace. With each exhale, release tension. See if you can begin to feel a gentle rhythm in your breathing. Steady, calm, alive. I invite you to bring to mind someone or something you love deeply. This could be a person, a memory, a place in nature, and a sense of the divine itself. Let that feeling of love rise in you. Warm, steady, radiant. And as you rest in this love from within you, imagine that love expanding, filling your chest, your body, and radiating beyond you. Like light moving through water, like ripples in that water reaching farther than you can see. Your steady heart becomes a quiet wave of coherence. Every heartbeat sending out peace, compassion, gentleness into this space we share, into the city around us, and into the wider world. Be still and know that divine love flows through you. The inhale of silence and the exhale of love. Be still and know that I am God.
still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still.
So we've been talking about working the circle together these past few weeks. And if you've been here, you know how we've been framing it. We can't transform alone. We can't transform by just adding head knowledge. And we can't transform without depth and stillness. Each of those truths has shown us something about who we are and who we're becoming. That transformation is not just about our private lives, but about the shape of the community we are always becoming together. Becoming people whose roots grow deep so that our lives bear fruit. And bearing fruit is what this last quadrant in our circle is all about. Serving. And serving is really just another word for love. Love in action. The divine life that is manifest in the world, which I often call love overflowing. Now, when we talk about love, we're not talking about something soft or sentimental. Love as we mean it here is the steady force that creates, restores, and connects. It's the pulse of divine life moving through us, moving through the world, healing what is torn, mending what is broken, refusing to give up on what could still be made whole. Because love that never flows outward just isn't love. Love must move into action, into presence, through prayer, through our lives. That's what keeps this circle alive. That's what keeps us walking the path. Because without love being the fruit of all the ways we work the circle, we might as well toss the circle out altogether. Because love is the point. Now, at Common Thread, and back when we were still North Raleigh Community Church, there was certainly plenty of love among us. But service given to the greater community wasn't really in the cards for some time. Because this was a community of people burned by church. Folks who'd been battered, guilted, abused, taken advantage of. The walking wounded, I sometimes call them. People were drained, cups were empty, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So the essential work in those early years was healing. Deconstructing what had wounded us, figuring out how to build authentic community, discovering and then nurturing contemplative practices, and learning how human beings actually grow and change. And as the love moved among us in the way we built this community, serving one another and carrying each other's burdens, our cups slowly began to refill. And there was a little more to pour back out, but no more to pour back out than there was to pour out. That's when here, now, small, doable became a foundational tenet. Feed a few people, clothe a few people, show up where you can, and that was wise. That tenet protected us from burnout, and it reminded us that we can't say yes to everything. That doing a little faithfully is better than overpromising and collapsing or doing nothing at all. But eventually our capacity grew, our roots deepened, and when we began to see that service could take on more than one form, the serving quadrant, as we've come to know it, came to be. Now, we generally talk about two kinds of work in this quadrant, and you know them if you've been here a while. Service work and systems work. Service work is the mercy work, donating clothes to Note in the Pocket, stocking shelves at the food bank, or serving meals like we did last Saturday with Hope Ministries in Garner. It meets the immediate need right in front of us, and that is holy work. But we all know how it is. It's one thing to constantly mop up a floor that keeps flooding, and another thing to turn off the faucet so that the water stops pouring out in the first place. Systems work is that deeper foundational work. It asks why so many people are hungry, why families can't afford homes, why whole neighborhoods get left behind while development surges all around them. And that's when a turning point came for us. After years of here, now, small, doable, there came a time when our bandwidth had grown, our roots had deepened, and we could say yes to systemic justice alongside the mercy work. And that's when we joined One Wake, organizing for affordable housing, holding elected officials accountable, learning what it means to stand together across race and class and congregation, and insist that our systems serve people, not power. And that, yes, stretched us. It pulled us into slower, harder work. And it also gave us a glimpse of what happens when love not only shows up with a blanket and a sandwich, but also begins building a different future. When love doesn't just imagine a better world, but dares to start shaping it. Still, let's be honest, this quadrant feels the hardest. It's hard in part because even with the systems work we do, the faucet never seems to turn all the way off. The water keeps spilling onto the floor, and serving can feel like endless mopping. Relentless need, relentless suffering, and never enough of us to keep up. That can feel demotivating, if not demoralizing. And it's also hard because serving asks something of us. Time, courage, energy. And sometimes when we're weary, it feels like more than we have to give. And it is especially hard, almost impossible to do, and definitely impossible to sustain if we aren't drawing deeply from the well of love at the center. In fact, not drawing from it is a big part of what makes us weary. When we don't draw from that well, the act of serving quickly becomes laden with a sense of guilt or obligation, or it's driven unsustainably by outrage. We've talked about this before. If we try to do service work out of sheer willpower, compassion fatigue will overwhelm us and we will run dry. So if we want to live fully in this quadrant, we have to draw deeper from the source, from the divine life within us. And that's when service stops being something we manufacture and starts becoming something that flows. It moves through us. It doesn't necessarily come from us. It pours out naturally as love overflowing, the fruit of working the circle, nourished and sustained by community, learning, and perhaps most especially, contemplation. In fact, that's the vision behind Richard Rohr's Center for Action and Contemplation, where he says the most important word in that name is and. Many of the teachers at CAC over the years have helped shape the people we have become at CTC over the years. People like James Finley, Barbara Holmes, Brian McLaren, and Cynthia Bourgeot have taught and lived from that conviction that action and contemplation belong together, that they, in fact, need each other. Contemplation without action drifts into irrelevance. It becomes a kind of spiritual self-absorption, endlessly circling around our own interior lives, chasing private insights, mistaking personal serenity for transformation. It can feel deep, but without love moving outward, it's no more than an insular practice that collapses in on itself. And action without contemplation flames out in outrage and despair, spending itself without ever returning to the well to be replenished. It becomes activism powered by adrenaline, by willpower, by ego, by anger. And those fuels don't last. They burn hot, they burn out, leaving behind exhaustion, cynicism, and despair. But action and contemplation held together, they form the rhythm of love itself. The breath of God moving through us, the inhale of silence that is inseparable from the exhale of love. And then we lift our eyes to the world, and still it can feel like too much. Even when we return to the well, even when we anchor ourselves in silence and community, the sheer scale of the suffering around us can feel overwhelming. In the midst of all that we each have to carry ourselves each day, the needs beyond us are endless. The powers feel immovable, and the shadows stretch into what seems like infinity. We can complain about it, and we do. We can despair, and we do that too. We can go numb and try to pretend that the darkness isn't there, but it is. And sometimes, understandably, outrage wells up in us. The urge to fight fire with fire, to overpower cruelty with force, to meet domination on its own terms. But that's not how the darkness is shifted. We must remind ourselves that the only thing that has ever shifted the darkness is love. love overflowing. As Dr. Martin Luther King famously reminded us, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Theologian Howard Thurman also wrote, hatred destroys the hater as well as the hated. Love, therefore, is the only way to rescue both. And George Fox, the founder of the Quakers, wrote of a mystical vision he had once, words that we've chanted here together before. I saw that there was an ocean of darkness and death, but an infinite ocean of light and love, which flowed over the ocean of darkness. In that I also saw the infinite love of God, and I had great openings. Not once, not for all time, but again and again, in every generation, in every place where cruelty masquerades as power, where greed parades as security, where fear disguises itself as faith, always it is love, love overflowing, love moving, love refusing to surrender, that gently and powerfully brings light to the dark places, that helps us see a bigger picture, as we sing in that other chant we've done here before, light in the dark, dark in the light. Lead us, O Lord, by a different sight. And we might think our small movements of love don't stand a chance against the vast machinery of fear and greed, of wrath and cruelty. But love is the only power that ever truly unravels them. Every act of service, every act of love is a quiet rebellion, a refusal to let darkness have the last word. Sometimes this love manifests as mercy, bringing groceries to a neighbor who can't get out, or sitting with someone in the hospital so they're not alone, or giving a full-time caregiver a break, small human gestures that pierce the loneliness that empire depends on. Sometimes it shows up as justice, linking arms in the long, slow work of systemic change, showing up to demand fair wages, to stand in solidarity with refugees, to protect creation, love that exposes and heals the fractures that power depends on. Sometimes it's presence, listening deeply, refusing to let someone feel invisible, love that restores dignity where the world has tried to erase it. Sometimes it's costly, choosing to show up even when it stretches you, even when it asks more of you than comfort would allow, love that absorbs the blows of the world without passing them on. And sometimes it's hidden, carrying others in silence with intention, refusing to let our hearts grow hard. This is love that works from the inside out, shifting the atmosphere, sowing peace where discord wants to take root. Even when we find ourselves too weary to get up off the couch, this is the one thing each of us can do, to tend the love that beats within our own hearts, trusting that it changes more than we can see. But as for the rest of what love wants to call forth from us, well, none of us can do all of it, nor are we meant to. Showing up in the serving quadrant requires discernment. Listening for that still small voice that says, this is yours to carry and this is not. Love may move you into action in one season and into silence in another. It may call you into systemic work or into the small mercies that keep someone afloat for another day. If transformation is what we're after, this quadrant, this serving quadrant, will always ask something of us. and not what feels convenient or feeds the ego, but what stretches us, not beyond our capacity, but into our growing edges, drawing us beyond the familiar and letting love itself do the moving. And that discernment can't be handed to us by anyone else. Each of us has to listen for it, to ask, what is mine to give? What is love asking of me now? Not what feels good, but what will grow me. Not what's easy, but what is needed. Not what keeps me comfortable, but what allows love to overflow through me into a world that so desperately needs it. Preach, brother. And when we learn to listen in that way, when we draw deeply enough from the well, something shifts. Serving stops being something we make ourselves do and becomes something we simply are. The active part of love emerges naturally from a deeper love already rooted in being. It becomes a posture, a way of seeing, of walking through the world where every small act, every quiet word, every moment of presence carries that same current of love. And that's why guilt doesn't belong here. As Preston often reminds us, the point of being invited to participate in service work isn't to make us feel guilty for not doing it. It's to call us into love. Love that may look ordinary, but is never insignificant. As Mother Teresa once said, not all of us can do great things, but we all can do small things with great love. We might not be able to directly feed the starving children in Gaza, for instance, but we can meet the needs right in front of us. Pardon me, something went wrong with my thing. But we can meet the needs right in front of us and trust that it's the small things drawn from deep love, a word of kindness, an act of patience, a quiet prayer, that ripple out into the atmosphere farther than we will ever know. And if as a community we long to have a greater impact on the world around us, we must build a more solid, evolved nest that holds us all here in care, so that we can together draw from that nest in all we set out to do. So today we are launching the In It Together Exchange. And I'm going to tell you more about this in a minute. It's an app that you can get to from our church app this week that makes it super simple to hold each other in love, to find the help we need, to offer the gifts we can share. And sure, it's an app, but it's not just an app. It's a picture of how love actually works, not as transaction, but as exchange. Love given, love received, offering a ride, making a meal, sitting with someone who's lonely, helping a neighbor move a piece of furniture. These may seem small, but again, when done with great love, they are not small at all. Because every exchange of love here, every time we carry one another, becomes more than a single act. It becomes a nutrient for justice, a seed of hope, a breath of God's love moving into the world. And so this week, let love move. Maybe in a big way, standing with the vulnerable against the powers of modern empire, maybe in a small way, through a quiet act of care in your home, maybe in a way no one sees, patience and gentleness released as you hold a quiet intention in your heart. Because what serving in love in this season looks like for you is yours to discern. But whatever you do, let love move through you, overflow from you, and build what is needed. Because to work the circle is to walk the path of love. A love that mends what is broken, rebuilds what has fallen, and makes the world, piece by piece, new, again and again and again. Amen.
brick by brick, heart by heart. Now, maybe now, we start learning how we can build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but we can build a city of love. When your trust is all but shattered, when your faith is all but killed, you can give up bitter and battered, or you can slowly start to build a beautiful city. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can build a beautiful city, not a city of angels, but finally a city of love. A city of love.
So as I mentioned before, the Common Thread In It Together Exchange is an app. I'm actually so excited to see Sean and Becky walking in here this morning. I haven't seen you in a while. We've talked about apps before. You'll be proud of me. I built an app, Sean, and then I gathered a group of people this week to tell me all the things I did wrong with it. And they were very, very helpful with our first round of beta testing. So we are launching this today, but let's call it a soft launch because, yeah, I learned how to connect Airtable to, this other app. You don't need to know all the details, but I did it. And we found some bugs, and I think we've mostly gotten through those bugs, but you're going to probably run into some things too. For instance, if you see yourself, you see Ashley and Chris and Jack, and I think those are the Parkers there. If you had filled out a form a few months ago, you may remember we asked some of the gifts that you had to offer, and so I went ahead and populated. There's about 20 or so of us in there right now. If you wanted to edit that, you can't do it. So that's one of the bugs until we move to a paid version, because we're not going to pay for this until we're sure it's going to work for us, because that's being responsibly, that's stewarding our finances responsibly here. So play with it, see where the bugs are. If you want to update your app and you're already in there, two things you can do. You can either email me what you want changed, or you can just create another listing and I'll delete the one that I have. It's really easy. It says, create your listing or add your listing or something like that. But thank you to everybody who helped beta test it this week. Kate and Jen and Ashley in particular gave me a lot of feedback, and it's been a real labor of love. Because what this is about is for us to be able to, first of all, share the gifts that we have that we want to share with each other, right? That's what we want to do. You go to the drop down and you look you don't have to look person by person. You can actually drop down the skill. What are you looking for? Somebody to build some furniture? You'll find it in the skills and offering. You're looking for somebody to be a walking companion? You can find that in the offering, and it'll populate the people who are willing to offer that for you. And then if you have a particular need, like we said earlier, Morgan's your person. We have the code, how are you doing? You can find that on the website. If you have a particular need right now, that's where you reach out to. But there's also a link on there saying if you don't see something that you need or something that you think we could all benefit from, there is a Google form for you to click on, and you can do that. We're collecting those anonymously because we're stretching our vulnerability muscles, and sometimes saying the things that we need feel really vulnerable. So again, as we said a few weeks ago, whatever it is that you need, be bold and put it in there so that we can get a sense of what the common needs are here at Common Thread and see how we can begin in a more intentional way carrying them for and with each other. So I'm excited about that. Look forward to hearing all the feedback I'm sure that I'm going to get. That's your QR code. All right. Okay, Joe, let's go. Folks on the live stream, so glad that you joined us this morning. If you're watching us live on Sunday morning, you will notice that there is a link in the comment beneath the video that says, "What are you thinking?" And what that is the online version of what we're about to do here in the room called What Are You Thinking, Sensing, and Feeling, where we talk about the lesson, about the service, about what's going on in our lives, about what's going on in the world. And we have a remote version of that too with the folks who regularly join us remotely from really all around the country. And so if this is your first time and you feel a little hesitant getting on that call, I just encourage you to, maybe stretch a little bit and click on there. They would love to have you join them for the conversation. The code to get in is 1417. If you're watching at another time or you just don't want to talk to anybody this morning, that's fine too. There's another comment below that one that you can click on where you can ask for a newcomer email, not unlike the one that John mentioned earlier. This one has a little more remote specificity, but it'll tell you a little more about who we are and give you a little more information with which to discern whether this feels like a place where you can grow spiritually. And with that, friends in the room, can we dismiss our friends on the live stream by putting one hand on our hearts and remembering that the divine indwells us, that this love that is in us is for us to draw from as we send it out into the world. And with that, let's extend our other hand to that world, to our city, taking seriously as we do to share what's in our heart with everybody we meet, with everybody we know, as we commit to being the healers and repairers of our world that we always commit to being. Amen. Folks on the live stream, God bless you. You are dismissed. And folks in the room, I just invite you to get grounded and in touch with what you are sensing and feeling before we talk about what we're thinking.